There's a mountain over there on the other side of the lake, barely visible through all the smoke. There's a mountain that's much closer. And all this smoke moved in over the last 24 hours. So you can see how far this one is based on house size and approximate the distance to that mountain. And it's barely visible. This is the closest one, and only it appears unobstructed because of how close it is. That one, 3 miles at the most. So I'm sure it was a cigarette butt or fireworks or lightning. But there's plenty of my videos that I've done from the front yard here where you can see how visible these mountains are within view of my house. So the air quality is pretty bad here right now. Ooh. I'm gonna adjust the lighting a little bit, see if that maybe makes any difference. But I'm gonna show you some zombie fires here in just a second. Because we've seen the zombie fires before, and I mentioned that there was a CNN story about zombie fires in Alaska or Canada. I think it was Alaska. These zombie fires that we're about to check out are in Siberia. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but there's a yellowish gold tint to everything because this smoke is providing a solar filter. And I was just saying to my parents before they left to Colorado, they're going to Denver. And it was weird what I said, watch for the plasma fires on the way, you'll see them. And what I meant was the remnants on the side of the road. But as soon as I said it, I was like, oh crap, did I hear what I just said? And they may actually run into them. My point is, I was telling them this feels like it did back in the 80s. When the sun was orangish, yellowish, and it was nice and warm. Now it's a bright white and super hot on the skin. Yet people still tell themselves nothing's changed. But I remember back when the sun was yellow and it felt really nice, and it does right now, all of this solar filter. So I don't know if you can even see it on the camera, but everything's got a nice golden glow to it. And the sun used to be yellow, and it's yellow again. And it feels like it used to also. And I was like, hey, we got some shade. At least it's nice and cool and it feels great, even if it is from the fires. So I came up with a solution for all that hot sun. Experiencing way too much sun, just start more fires. And that'll blot out the sun. Okay, let's go check out the zombie fires. Shout out to strangesounds.org. That's where this came from. Zombie fires in Yakutia survive winter under meters of snow and record-breaking cold temperatures. We're going to check out some of the video. Siberia is on fire, and it's only May. If you look closer at it, it seems that some of those wildfires never went out last summer. They indeed continued to burn in bitter cold environment of nearly negative 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Now these zombie fires are slowly starting to emerge out of the snow, and I bet you they are responsible for the unprecedented early wildfire start. It's not global warming. This peat fire outside Kunduga, for example, was first seen by locals in November of 2020. The footage by the Siberian Times, filmed at the end of February 21st at negative 30 degrees Celsius, shows that it didn't stop burning. We will zoom out a bit here, and this is their video that we'll watch. Could the early start of wildfires in the area as cold as Oyamankan in Yukon be linked to the so-called zombie peat fires? This one outside Kandugia, for example, was the first seen by locals in November 2020. Our footage filmed at the end of February 2021 at negative 30 degrees Celsius shows that it did not stop burning. Zombie fires. Look at all of them, all across the land. You would think that's steam, like from hot springs? No, that's fire burning. When they pan to it again, look how many of them there is across the land. That's the peat moss he's digging through right there, that's under a few feet of snow. And like they said, negative 30 Celsius. Here, as they pan out across the land, you can see others burning, one here and one here. It looks like at least 2 or 3 others burning in the background, maybe even in a line with this one that they're digging right there. I don't know if that's holes that they've dug or if they just started digging where they saw that one of these holes springs up. Last week, authorities put Novobrizsk's 1.7 million residents under what's known as black sky air quality warning as smoke from nearby wildfires blanketed the city. In late April, the Siberian Times reported that 27 houses were destroyed in the city of Kemerovo and 50 in Russia's third largest city of Novobrizsk, with more destruction in other surrounding districts. We'll come back and watch some of these videos. I want to read the rest of it first. Beginning of 2021, locals also reported fires burning near the area hit by last summer's wildfires at the bitter cold temperature of negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit. They explained this area suffered extremely hot and dry weather. It must be either peat on fire here, or, as some of the hunters who noticed these fires suggested, possibly young coal, also known as lignite, I suppose. They're trying to explain it from within the bookends of their known reality. Pretty sure I got a better explanation. As if the summer fires didn't stop. And this was the coldest winter in Yakutia since 2006, with air temperatures dropping to an unconscionable negative 74.2 degrees Fahrenheit peak. And this record-setting coldness lasted for weeks from December 2020 to January of this year. Right now, images gathered by the Copernicus Sentinel-2 satellites show a group of wildfires clustered near Oyamankon, a rural area known for being one of the coldest places on Earth. That is the satellites that they're showing. These, I assume these orange spots in this ring, maybe I'm wrong, but that's where they're showing an image acquired today, May 2nd, shows the pyrocumulus generated by the flames. So they're looking at the smoke cloud, but you might even be able to see the flames along there. I'm not sure if that's a computer-generated image or what. What are peat fires? Let's zoom back a little bit. Zombie fires smolder slowly at a low temperature and spread underground, making them difficult to detect, locate, and extinguish. They produce little flame and much smoke. What have I said about these fires? Flameless. And they put out 10 times as much smoke as a regular fire because they don't combust. And that's why James Grunwald calls it field-activated combustion synthesis, because 90% of the plasma fires are flameless. They only combust a little bit, provably by the video that I've shown, where a hugely burnt tree has an unburnt limb sticking out of it. Therefore, the tree burning must not have been putting out flames, or it would have burnt that branch sticking out of it, right above the highly burnt area. So they produce little flame and much smoke, which can become a threat to public health as the smoke creeps along the land and chokes nearby villages and cities. We started this video outside showing some of that choking smoke. Peat fires are the largest fires on Earth. They're very difficult to put out because they're deep. Pristine peat is too wet to burn, but when it dries out, inadequate snow, deforestation, or draining, none of which happened in this case because you saw all the snow on top of that peat that they're claiming is a peat fire. And only, like it said right here, pristine peat, you can't burn because it's too wet. Pristine peat is too wet to burn. But when it dries out, inadequate snow, deforestation, or draining, it becomes flammable. Nature's solution to this problem is torrential rains that can completely flood the peat land. One man-made strategy for generating water is to stimulate rain through cloud seeding. Another approach to fighting peat fires is to tackle the network of narrow tunnels that delivers nutrients in waterlogged peat, but also allows oxygen to reach underground fires. Well, you know, in this case, it's delivering water to these waterlogged peat because there's plenty of snow on top. So you know it's not one of these peat fires. It's too wet. So yes, these fires can survive under the snow. This is the same story they were telling us in California, that underground root fires lurk for 6 weeks later. They can pop up and burn underground for 6 weeks at a time. Underground, in the root systems of trees. That's what they were telling us in California 2017 and 18 and 19. So yes, these fires can survive under the snow because of these narrow tunnels in peatland that bring oxygen to the underground fire. So please don't always blame climate change for the amazing but natural phenomenon. The fires were protected by the snow from the outside and were fed with oxygen through these small underground tunnels. We're so glad that they were protected and provided and cared for and fed. They were protected by the snow. And that was the end of the article. How bizarre of an end is that? And now is the time when the kiddies must leave the room. It's no place for children. Put the kiddies to bed now. So just a side note, that thing we just covered about the zombie fires was viewer-generated content. That's why I'm so protective of my comment section, because that's my gravy. You don't mess with a man's gravy. You messing with my gravy, you messing with my emotions, man. And that's why I will suffer no fools, except for Soul Frequency Hertz. That's our, a mascot. He's our troll agent mascot, who says some of the most off the wall shit. But we're gonna just, like, maybe we can make friends with him and say, hey, I'll trade you some info. Who sent you? Who do you work for? And we'll just treat you like a real boy, because I know you're like Pinocchio. You just want to be treated like a real boy. So we'll be like, hey, what's up, Soul? When we see you in the comment section, we won't call you out and say this guy ain't real, and we'll treat you like a real boy. You just tell us who sent you. Who sent you, Soul? Who sent you? So the viewer-generated gravy, it's like a self-perpetuating gravy generation machine in my comment section because of the culture that's been cultivated. Let's keep it that way and keep the gravy flowing. So this guy was recommended to me a while back, Deadeye Customs. And I looked at some of his stuff, and he talks about the celestial objects in our sky and the ion bleed off. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll watch what he does. This is what he put out just yesterday, I believe. And it's about these black dot craft. The only other person I've seen showcase these is Gina Colvin Hill. And I've done multiple videos regarding these black dot craft, because I've extracted them from Joe Embriano's video over a military base, from Mr. MBB333's video in a cloud of smoke behind him where he was pointing at it saying, look, you see it? You see it over my shoulder there? You see it? And of course we can see that giant cloud of smoke. We don't need you to point that out. He was pointing at what was in the cloud of smoke, Mr. MB3. And I've gone over this before, and I filmed them over my own head in Pleasant Grove on my day that I went out to Independence. And I showed my girlfriend what I filmed on the way over to her house, my ex-girlfriend, and she says, what are those little black dots? I said, shut up about the black dots. I'm trying to show you some dragons here. Later on, I look at those black dots, and sure enough, there are some black objects appearing to have anti-gravitational properties, levitating, floating in our sky. Most of his are moving. Mine, when I film them in Pleasant Grove, and there's at least 13 to 16 of them, and one that stays present the whole time while I'm filming there, are stationary. But these are a real thing. And to finally have found number 3, there's 3, that makes 3 of us. Me, Gina Colvin Hill, and this guy, but this guy's got hundreds of examples. So he just put this video out as a collage where he brings together all these different examples he has of these black dot craft. And I'll let you hear the beginning of this video now.
Alright, this is best going to be viewed on a large computer screen, preferably. Something you can get in close and look at the fine details. Because in that cloud that shadow is casting onto directly above it is filled with those little cloud tenders.
Cloud tenders.
That's the only way I can describe them.
He calls them cloud tenders.
You will shortly see.
And what he's doing is developing his own language to explain things that within our language there are no explanations for. We do not have words to describe the concept of what it is we're seeing. And I believe this guy's already been through the process of breaking down your psyche, break me down, build me back up. That's what happens during an initiation. But in his own words in this video, he has a library of evidence that would take years to digest, and it takes too long for someone to break down their old self-image and worldview and lose their grip on the world they thought they knew in order to be able to grasp what's actually going on here. And once you can see it, you will see it elsewhere. That's what happened to me. After Amber pointed them out in my video in Pleasant Grove, sure enough, then I saw them in MB3's video and Joe Embriano. Your eyes can only see what your mind is capable of believing, and your mind is only capable of believing that which you are emotionally capable of processing. The emotions, it's emotional mind control. It is your feeling about these things of the unknown which prevents you from believing them, which prevents you from seeing them. But once you see it, you'll see it elsewhere because it's a snowball effect. Now you see it, now you'll believe it, and now that you believe it, you'll see it more. And it continues to build. This guy, I believe, has gone through the process a while back, and he's capable of seeing and describing these phenomena and even making up his own words to describe them, because that's what you have to do when you're on the leading edge of this conversation the way he is.
Above it is filled with those little cloud tenders. It's the only way I can describe them. You will shortly see. I catch these things all the time, but not very often.
Now, Gina Colvin Hills,
like this.
Hers looked like bugs. And I kind of dismissed
Couldn't even
her.
see them when I was zoomed all the way back. Only when I zoomed in. That tells me that they're up there in the sky, not bugs in front of my camera. So go ahead and lose that idea.
Go ahead and lose that idea. Now, the first ones he shows you are buzzing around, and it looks like bugs. But the next 99 examples he shows you are these still frames. And the ones where you can see wings, they all have wings. You can see the wings on all of them. But 90% of them you can't see wings, but the ones where you can, they all have wings, and possibly those wings are more like a rotator blade that spins around, a wing off each edge, and the thing spins. Who knows? Maybe these are microbots, maybe they're biological. They are definitely in the sky. Those which I filmed, my entire library of black cubecraft material is linked in the description of this video called Black Cubecraft Invasion, which is an explanatory video where I do film the original footage, but you'll want to go to the original footage and see the original because it loses clarity when you film from one phone to another. So we go into that one and watch it. So this is the beginning of Black Cubecraft Invasion of the AI tech singularity. Time is up. May the Spaceforce be with you. This flashing purple light, as I back away, you can see it reaching out toward the camera like a laser. Can't be seen with the naked eye. That same flashing purple light is right there. Cannot be seen with the naked eye. Only through the camera can you see that this is blinking a laser at you. Stay with me here, it matters. And this is going to come into play later. When I talk about how these cameras can pick up things that our naked eye cannot. You can see that from clear back here. That's the length of a clipboard or two. And that's with the light on. So here I'm just saying the cameras can pick up things our eyes cannot. We'll talk about the light itself and why it's there. Because I also go into things that I picked up through a Santilli telescope running color contrasts and lighting contrasts, and I'm able to literally pick up what appears to be X-ray images penetrating through these airborne aircraft carrier, giving me the outline of what's on them. Some of those airborne aircraft carrier images that I speak of are covered in this video, and if not this one, then Boogeyman gets dragon pilled. You look at the description. In the description, there's lots of links. And here's the original footage where you'll be able to see plasma-powered Thunderbirds Source video. That's the video I took in Pleasant Grove, a few miles from my house, that you'll have to pause. And you'll be able to see there's one that exists right about here the whole time, pausing or not. And then there's about 13 others. We'll go over those here in a minute. But what I'm saying is the way to watch this video is that this one itself, Black Cubecraft Invasion, is an explanatory video. The way to actually see the craft themselves is to go to plasma-powered Thunderbirds Source video, and that's the original raw footage. And you can pause it if you want. Close-ups where I zoom in on a single still frame of the one that exists the whole time. The original Mr. MBB 333 Woodbury fire where I zoom in on one that's above him in the smoke. Here is the source video, MB3 Woodbury fire source video, where he shows, watch, it's starting to get close, massive wildfire evacuation. Here's the original UAP over military base in California via Joe Imbriano. And within the description of that one, you'll be able to get the original footage of Joe Imbriano, or that might be it. X-ray images of an airborne aircraft carrier. So I'm just showing you that in the description of these is a resource. And if you want to see the originals, which I'll show you right now, but it'll still be camera to camera, let's go check it out. Plasma-powered Thunderbird Source video. Right here in the very first of the video. I'm going to flip the camera sideways. So it's titled Plasma-Powered Thunderbird Source Video with 13 UAP craft, Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon, 3 on the right-hand side of the screen, which I'll show you now. There's a single one here that's visible the whole time. You can see it there at the tip of my pen. And it stays there the whole time. I don't see these while I'm filming. I'm pointing at the cloud formations talking about dragons. This is the one that I took on the way over to my ex-girlfriend's house. And when I showed it to her saying, check out the dragons, she's the one that said, do you have like little black specks on your screen or something? Watch right here and you'll see 2 more appear below it in a triangular shape. There's the one that's there the whole time. And then one appears here. And one appears here like in a triangular formation. And as these 2 below it, they kind of blink in and out of view. And anytime they're in view, there's 13 others scattered along in this cloud. Up here, there's some of them over here on the horizon of the sky. Like at this level, there's 13 others scattered throughout this cloud. And some of them are over here. I think one of them might even be down below the mountaintop level. Maybe not. Maybe they're all above the horizon. Some of them are very close. Some of them are within the power lines. So there's the one you can see for the full first, I think it's 45 or 50 seconds of this video. That one's clearly visible the whole time. There's 2 more that come in and out of view down here, 45 degree down to the left and down to the right. As these other 2 come into view, you can pause it anytime along there and see these other 13 scattered throughout the sky. Take your own screenshot, zoom in for yourself. Like I was saying, they get real close these days. They're right down here, almost ground level. So this is zoomed all the way out. if I zoom in, see what I'm saying? They're really close. They're coming down. I, in fact, watched them. So I zoomed in past it just now, and there's the other one right there next to it. I just turned the volume down so you don't have to listen to that guy. This one's clearly visible the whole time. Once you turn the lighting up, you'll notice there's another two. And this is only for the first 30 seconds or so of the video. See, there's the other two. Right there and right there next to it. So here I've paused the video at 42 seconds. You can see one right here, and one right here. And when these two lower ones come into view, there's more that are scattered all throughout the clouds. One right there, one right there, one right here, one right there, one right there. We'll zoom in on some of those. Right now it's just paused. I didn't take a screenshot or zoom in or anything. I simply paused the video. You can see one there and one just below it. See one over here and one over here that could be something on the wires, but this certainly isn't. Neither is that or that. Or 1, 2, 3 there. Or this one up above the power line. So these black dot craft are real, and in this case they're stationary. I wasn't even looking up here for you. So here's the three that you can, the one that you can see the whole time is there. There's one there and one there. And when these two come into view, that's when you can see this one, this one, this one, this one, that one. Let's hunt for some more. Can you see them? One here, one there, one there. So I'll let you continue the hunt. But now you know where you can see them all. You can kind of see all of them. And that's at 42 seconds. And that's right before I cut away to the next scene because I didn't see these with my naked eye. And I doubt you could, even if you knew they were there and you were looking for them. That's why I did the demonstration at first, that these cameras pick up things we can't. But the fact that these all come into view simultaneously at the same time as these means they're all working off of like one cloaking device. Or the screen in front of them flickers in and out. But the one of them is clearly visible for the first 42 seconds of this whole video. The raw footage is in the video titled Plasma Powered Thunderbirds Source Video. It will be linked in the description of this video. Another link in the description is this one. Now you're familiar with this cloud formation, and right where these are, there's one here, another here, and probably another just off screen that you can't quite see, but you will be able to here in a minute. And I zoom in on this one, the darkest one that's there the whole time, and I run the contrast adjustments. And you'll see why I call them plasma-powered Thunderbirds. I'm going to turn the phone sideways here in just a second so you can see the bird. So you can see we keep zooming in on this one that's present the whole time. And I take a screenshot and I zoom in on the screenshot that I just took and I run color and contrast adjustments. And then I take another screenshot of that. So each time I'm zooming in all the way, running the color contrast adjustments, taking a screenshot, grabbing that from my gallery, zooming in even further, running even more color contrast adjustments on that one little black dot, and watch what it turns into. Here I've shown you each step along the way of the color contrast adjustment. Down here you see what looks like a bird's head with a circular eyeball right there. Let's turn it sideways just so you can get the full bird effect. Caw-caw! So that little black speck is not a bug. It was there in the sky the whole time. This shows that whatever it is, it's outside the bookends of our known reality. right? I think that's what this shows. So again, the link in the description shows better quality video. Look at all these symmetrical ridges along the edge right here. I'm gonna pause this. Look at all these symmetrical ridges. The big one in the middle, then 1, 2, 3. On the other side, 2 in the middle, and then a big one. These are all pretty much symmetrical. They're not exactly, but something about this looks very by design. And the fact that I can get such high quality definition after zooming in 10 times, usually when you zoom in the first time, pixel quality disappears and it just turns into a blurry image. The fact that I can see these little notches in this ridge right along here. The fact that I can get this high resolution detail after zooming in so many times indicates this is something more like an X-ray image, because typical photos lose resolution. You can't see that kind of fine detail in the edges. The bird eye. See the bird eye right here? Why is there a perfectly round circular eyeball in what looks like a bird head? And the rest of it kind of resembles a bird body with wings? But particularly this, let's answer that first. Remember, all I did was zoom in on that little black dot that's floating in the sky and kept running my zoom and color contrast adjustments past the point where it's just a blurry dot. Zoom in even further and it's like you're able to see through the veil. Perfectly round. What is that doing in the middle of there? It's just, if it's just all pixels and lens flares. I'm telling you, it's like, my best guess is that it's X-ray images. When I look at the airborne aircraft carrier and the symmetry of those images. Okay, for educational purposes, again, Boogeyman got dragon pilled plus airborne aircraft carrier. This shows you many of the images, but then you got to go to the links in the description to see the original footage with higher quality. These two videos, because I happen to be passing them right now, are probably what Deadeye Customs, the other guy who has now identified these black dot craft, he identifies this as ion bleed off. So I'll include those two links in the description and hope he's a new subscriber and can give us some insight as to how that works, how those things can stay parked in the air right there.